Hey, always emotion, never stagnant, constantly growing, always aim high for your goals, chance and time until the day that you die. In Jesus' name, we rise and realize that God is with us to change lives. Now, listen, man. I first want to start this video off with a little prayer, um, and just to make it clear that I don't speak any of these things on my life or anybody that I know's life. Anybody who's watching this video, whether whoever you are, I wouldn't wish these topics that I'm about to talk about on anybody, but I want to bring them to light because it's something that just kind of popped up in my head, and I've been trying to change this channel to be less preachy and more, experience given. I don't even know the word I'm trying to use for that, but I'm just trying to share my experiences to make this channel more, to allow people to understand what I really want to achieve with this channel and these videos that I make. But schizophrenia and narcissism, I believe they go hand in hand, and the reason why, I think it exists on a scale rather, and I think that, obviously not everybody's situations are going to be the same. However, one of the things, and I have a couple reasons why this idea came to me. So first off, as y'all can see, I'm driving right now, so bear with me on that. But if you haven't already found out or known from other videos, my mom, she has schizophrenic and narcissistic tendencies, and she has like a wide range of mental illnesses that she's affected with. She also takes a lot of different types of medication that has, suppressed a lot of the things, but also in my eyes has made some things worse in her life. Well, that's neither here nor there. She also suffers from like OCD, bipolar. She's one of those adults that kind of acts like a child. I don't know the exact illness for that. I don't know if she's actually diagnosed with it, but she often acts like a child. She doesn't have good sense of responsibility, how to handle finances. She suffers from a lot of different things that hurts her ability to operate as an adult in today's society. And the mental health system hasn't done her many favors. Granted, she has such a deep and convoluted set of symptoms that it makes it hard for any case manager or social worker to handle her and deal with her. And it takes a lot of patience for one to be successful with her, but it's also, after a while it gets kind of, I would say, it gets disheartening dealing with her symptoms and trying to figure out, having the responsibility of trying to help her through it. And this is for somebody who's not a family member. Obviously my mom or my grandma and I have a different set of mindsets when it comes to dealing with her symptoms. So, and my grandma deals with her symptoms, a lot more often than I have to deal with them, and has dealt with them longer than I've ever dealt with them. But to continue this point, my aunt, my mom's sister, she's an older sister, brought it to my attention one day that my mom might also have some narcissistic tendencies as well. She thinks that the whole world revolves around her most of the time, and that like time and things have, give her an opportunity to like not deal with certain things, and like that time is gonna weigh on her. People are gonna weigh on her. People are always looking at her. And my aunt, she brought that to my attention one day, and it, for better or for worse, it helped me kind of come to terms a little bit with what my mom is potentially dealing with. And then I'll even say, as her son, a kid who grew up seeing her in these circumstances and realizing at a pretty young age what she was dealing with, and having to go through her psychotic breaks and episodes and trying to experience that, and help her deal with that. I know that as I've grown, I've adapted some tendencies as well, and in terms of narcissistic tendencies. And I'm gonna put a hold on this thought real quick. But yeah, kind of continuing that point, I've noticed tendencies within myself that have been kind of negative and on, the same path as kind of what she experiences. Obviously not to that same degree, and God forbid it ever gets to that degree. I'm just noticing tendencies, and I want to bring it up right now because I'm trying to get better with it. I'm really trying to evolve from these thoughts. But I always have this fleeting suspicion that for whatever reason, people are always judging me and don't like me and dislike me for whatever reason, and have something against me, or just, like I said, dislike me for something that I do or I've done or whatever. And I just really started thinking about it some more today, and I've come to an agreement with myself that honestly, those thoughts are so irrational, because for one, I don't do enough things in the public eye for people to even have an opinion on me. So I'm not like constantly in like public situations in order for people to have a judgmental opinion about me to begin with. Two, I don't really do, even when I do things, I don't really do things to the extent that's so, extreme that people will have an opinion about it to begin with. More often than not, I'm trying to do the right thing. And, the right thing doesn't always get put on the pedestal all the time. And if I was doing the wrong thing, then I'd be getting some eyes on me or whatever. But I think it's just like this irrational idea that for whatever reason, people are always like looking at me and have something to think about me in certain circumstances. And it's just so irrational, and it's so bullshit. It's such an idiotic way to view the world, because that's just extremely narcissistic. One, I don't do much to begin with for people to have an opinion on me, but it's like I constantly desire this I constantly have this need for people to have their eyes on me and to look at me, but then I run from it. So I'm not like I don't fully want it, but like I want it enough to like complain about it and feel bad about it, or at least have these unconscious thoughts that pass by through my brain that make me feel as if I'm, looked at in a negative light by people for whatever reason. And more often than not, it's never in person. It's usually always on some social media shit, like some like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube shit. Like, it's never real life. Whenever I really interact with people in real life, it's more often than not love. Like, it's not always amazing, like whatever, but it's not negative. I don't have like terrible negative interactions with people. It's just straight up this unconscious belief in the back of my head that makes me feel as if like people hate me and secretly hate me for whatever I do and whatever I've done. And I tie all that together to say that I believe that schizophrenia and narcissism have a lot of similarities and ties with each other. And like I said, it probably exists on a scale. And if somebody who studies these things has more information on it, obviously, like, look up to them. This is just what I feel, and this is what like I've experienced growing up, and going through life now with these experiences. But I feel like it takes a certain level of a lot of ego to have this idea that everybody is looking at you all the time and has an opinion on you. Schizophrenia is basically this like a symptom or an illness that individuals experience where they feel like, or they're hearing voices, or they hear or feel like people are staring at them. And it gets really, really scary, because like obviously people with schizophrenia have actual mental illness and experience things to a degree that people who don't have those illnesses experience. But it's and I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, like people who have schizophrenia are all narcissistic. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, I think part of it, if you're not somebody that suffers from it, but you are experiencing other people vicariously experience these things, then are you experiencing people vicariously with these circumstances? I think there's a level of narcissism in just everybody's day-to-day life. Another thing that I also believe is that to a certain extent, everybody suffers from a small case of schizophrenia and narcissism. And it takes realizing and putting awareness towards it for you to kind of take your ego out of the situation and look at things from a different perspective. Why would everybody everybody in the world constantly be thinking about you? What do you have? What do you do that makes people what do you do that makes you think that everybody is looking at you all the time? If you were Michael Jackson, if you were LeBron James, if you were like just a goated superstar in certain or whatever, then of course, yeah, it would make sense. People are looking at you, people have expectations of you because you've shown yourself to be a great in the field that you're in. However, what do you do that makes you feel like you're this like center of attention for everybody all the time? You don't do anything that's like abnormal or crazy for people to even have those opinions about you in the first place. So they're completely irrational. And I believe that people who really suffer from those things. Like I said, I'm not trying to say everybody who has schizophrenia is narcissistic. I'm saying there might be some tendencies that exist within that people can start pointing towards and looking at and having, deeper conversations about. You aren't the center of the attention. You're not the center of the world. You are the center of your world, and you exist in your world, but you also exist with other people who also have their own worlds going on as well. It's called Sonder. The accepting nature that everybody is existing in their own world and dealing with their own things in their own time. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's literally what life is. But you are not the center of the world. And unless you do something that warrants people's attention and warrants people to give their attention to you, then there's a circumstance where you could operate with a certain level of care and hopefully you don't develop narcissism from that, because people obviously get their egos inflated when they do have people's attention. So you have to pick and choose who you give your attention to and the type of person they are and whatnot. But you just need to understand that you are not the center of the universe. You are not the center of the world. You are the center of your world, but you also exist with other people within their worlds as well. And everybody's going to have their own thoughts, perspectives, opinions. That's cool. But unless you're doing something that warrants that attention, then you don't got to worry about any of that. And then when you do warrant people's attention and you do get people's attention, then you need to be ready for that opportunity. You need to be ready to put yourself on the stage and perform and do what you got to do. But that's neither here nor there. Deuces.